Oh, this is
You
amazing.
didn't know you were signing up for all this, did you?
No. That's like untouched 2,000-year-old stuff.
Exactly.
Do you see that spider?
The problems are the scorpions.
Beneath the Temple Mount, a place sacred to millions and shrouded in mystery, scientists uncovered a secret that defies everything we thought we knew. Imagine finding a perfectly preserved underground shrine untouched for nearly 3,000 years. Yet, that's just the beginning of what lies hidden beneath Jerusalem's surface. What if beneath this holy ground lies not only worship, but an ancient prison designed to contain something far darker?
There's this ancient, mysterious tunnel running 40 feet underground the old city of Jerusalem. And supposedly, if you follow it through, you're going to reach all the way to the Temple Mount.
When archaeologists found a lead capsule sealed inside those chambers, its message sparked fear even among experts. What exactly did they uncover? And why are some desperate to keep it buried? Mysterious chambers beneath the Mount. Beneath the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, archaeologists stumbled upon something completely unexpected. A series of sealed, man-made chambers carved into solid bedrock. This discovery defied everything previously believed about what lies beneath one of the most sacred and politically sensitive sites on Earth. These chambers were found more than 30 feet below the surface, hidden deep under the stones that pilgrims and worshippers have revered for millennia. Ground-penetrating radar had revealed geometric patterns, straight lines, perfect angles, and symmetrical layouts that no natural formation could explain. The chambers appeared untouched, sealed off from any tunnels or passageways that might allow entry. The surprise wasn't just in their existence, but in their preservation. These rooms had been undisturbed for nearly 3,000 years, older even than King Herod's expansions or the Second Temple itself. Such a finding challenged the long-held assumptions about the history and archaeology of Jerusalem's most hallowed grounds. It raised urgent questions about who built these chambers, why, and what they contained. Remarkably, no legal excavation has ever been permitted beneath the Temple Mount, precisely because of the site's religious significance and political sensitivity. So how were these hidden spaces discovered at all? The answer lies in the marriage of advanced technology and bold, unauthorized research. A pioneering team combined ground-penetrating radar with artificial intelligence analysis to peer beneath the surface without touching a single stone over several years. Faint and unclear images gradually transformed into sharply defined structures that no one anticipated. The implications were immediate and alarming. During past conflicts, even rumors of disturbance under the Temple Mount had led to violent clashes and unrest, demonstrating how fragile peace around this site really is. Archaeologists understood that leaking news of these chambers could ignite tensions on a global scale. This delicate balance of discovery and secrecy added a layer of urgency to what was unfolding beneath the holy platform. Yet, the sealed chambers were not just historical relics. They held witness to something much more profound. Early scans hinted at a larger story. What these chambers sheltered could reshape our understanding of ancient Jerusalem and its religious landscape. The researchers moved cautiously, aware that once the seal was broken, consequences could ripple far beyond archaeology itself. The first signs revealed by these hidden rooms were only a prelude to deeper and far darker revelations. What else was lurking below remained unknown. The idea that entire chambers lay buried in silence for centuries sparked waves of curiosity, mingled with fear. These spaces suggested more than simple storage or forgotten tombs. They indicated intentional concealment, a secret carefully kept by unseen hands. One question haunted the teams tirelessly: what was meant to remain locked away all this time? The sealed voids defied usual temple architecture and raised the possibility of a secret purpose. They were not connected to known tunnels or water cisterns, nor did they align with any recorded expansions. Instead, they appeared as a complex system, aligned mathematically and with precise intention, directly under the Mount's eastern wall, hinting at a deliberate and extraordinary design. This sophisticated planning suggested these chambers held immense significance. As the researchers peered closer through layers of soil and stone, the weight of these discoveries became clear. This was no ordinary archaeological find. It was as if a hidden world had been carefully shut out, forbidden even to those who called Jerusalem home. But beneath the surface, the story had only just begun to unfold. Discovering the chambers was just the beginning. The deeper truth lay in what they contained and why it had been concealed for millennia. Deep beneath the mount, the secrets these chambers held soon led to astonishing revelations about ancient religious life that contradicted long-held beliefs. Rediscovering forgotten worship. Inside those sealed chambers, the team uncovered traces of ritual life, long erased from the official history of Jerusalem's scanning technology, revealed a fully preserved underground shrine, perfectly intact for nearly 3,000 years. Unlike the ruins many expected to find, this complex included altars, stone basins, and ritual artifacts arranged as if worshippers had simply vanished overnight. It felt like a snapshot of a forgotten faith frozen in time. 8 connected rooms stretched out beneath the Temple Mount, carved precisely into the limestone bedrock. Their symmetrical layout did not match any known temple designs found above ground in Jerusalem. The shrine was not destroyed, but deliberately sealed, offering evidence that some form of worship had survived in secrecy despite ancient religious reforms. This secret sanctuary challenged the biblical narrative that King Hezekiah had eradicated all rival shrines to centralize worship exclusively in the Temple of Jerusalem. Traces on the altars showed hardened organic residues resembling animal fat and olive oil, crude but meaningful signs of sacrificial rituals. Incense remnants and crushed olive pits further suggested everyday ritual use, with burnt offerings and lamps still preserved in spectral scans. This level of preservation was staggering, considering centuries of earthquakes, conquests, and construction above should have damaged or destroyed such delicate remains. Some of the ritual items found indicated a belief system that blended official religion with older, now forgotten practices. Standing stones, known as masabas, represented a divine presence, reinforcing ideas tied to ancient Near Eastern worship. Ritual basins still showed signs of wine and oil residues, suggesting the continuation of communal sacrificial rites by more than just priests, possibly involving ordinary families who maintained their faith in quiet, daily devotion. This hidden shrine hinted at divided religious worlds coexisting under one sacred space. While the Grand Temple above was the public face of Judaism, beneath it lay a layer of clandestine worship, opposing the official narrative. The shrine's preservation suggested intentional secrecy rather than destruction, indicating a hope among certain priestly factions to protect and one day revive these suppressed traditions. Comparisons with other archaeological finds from Judah and the surrounding deserts reinforced this picture. Similar sealed shrines with twin altars had been found, proving coexistence of multiple worship systems despite historical attempts to erase them. Inscriptions from the Sinai even hinted at followers who honored both Yahweh and a female divine figure, pointing to religious complexity rather than uniformity. The discovery redefined how historians and believers understood ancient Jerusalem's religious life. The Temple Mount was no longer simply the site of pure and unified worship, but a place layered with spiritual conflict and hidden faiths. This complex religious reality challenged long-standing interpretations of ancient scripture and raised profound questions about the origins and evolution of Israelite religion. Beneath the shrine stood a mysterious, untouchable monument that would soon become central to understanding what made this discovery so unsettling. From the shadow of this underground sanctuary rose an ancient enigma that ancient kings dared not confront: the surviving standing stone. At the heart of the sealed shrine stood a massive standing stone nearly 10 feet tall, carved from a single block of limestone and somehow untouched for nearly 3,000 years. This masaba was an ancient symbol of divine presence used by the early Israelites, yet according to the Bible, King Hezekiah had ordered such stones destroyed during his reforms. The fact it remained intact beneath the Temple Mount shocked archaeologists and historians alike. Even more astonishing was the discovery that the stone's surface appeared coated with a metallic substance. Spectral analysis identified traces closely matching mercury, a substance used in ancient Near Eastern rituals to bind or contain spirits. This suggested the stone was not simply a passive symbol, but part of a functional ritual designed to seal or imprison something. Theories emerged that this standing stone was less a holy icon and more a safeguard. Scholars recalled similar living stones found in Phoenician sites like Byblos and Carthage, where priests performed rites to trap divine forces within the stone itself. If the masaba beneath the Temple Mount served a comparable role, it meant the shrine was essentially a containment site, hiding dangerous powers that even the priests could not destroy. This unsettling possibility challenged traditional understandings of Israelite religion and its sacred spaces. Biblical passages took on new meaning when viewed through the lens of this discovery. Texts from Isaiah and Genesis describe mighty beings bound by divine command, while ancient Jewish writings, such as the Book of Enoch, speak of watchers sealed beneath mountains for disobedience. The standing stone might have been a physical manifestation of these ancient curses or prisons. The historical context of 701 BCE added weight to these ideas. When the Assyrians besieged Jerusalem, records mention secret temple rituals performed by King Hezekiah's priests. Unofficial accounts now suggest these rites may have been aimed at reinforcing a seal already in place beneath the Temple Mount, using the standing stone as a barrier against forces believed to lurk below. This revelation unsettled historians and theologians who knew it implied a darker religious history, one involving fear and containment rather than pure worship. The Temple Mount, traditionally seen as a place of divine presence, could also have been constructed as a shield, protecting the city from something far older and more dangerous. Despite its immense significance, the stone remained hidden for centuries, invisible to both worshippers and invaders. Its survival hinted at careful guardianship by those who knew its true purpose, a role passed secretly through generations. What lay beyond this seal, the deeper secrets of the mound, would soon reveal the chilling reason why these ancient builders went to such lengths to hide their most sacred mysteries. Beneath the masaba's shadow, another chamber waited, sealed and silent, holding warnings no one was prepared to hear. An ancient containment ritual? The mysterious standing stone beneath the Temple Mount was more than a simple religious symbol. It hinted at a ritual function far darker and more complex than anyone expected. Spectral analysis detected traces of mercury coating its surface, a metal commonly used in ancient Mesopotamian and Canaanite rites to bind or contain spirits. This suggested the stone was deliberately prepared to trap or seal something powerful, rather than merely marking a sacred spot. The presence of mercury in such a context pushed the interpretation beyond worship into the realm of containment. This finding unsettled scholars familiar with Near Eastern religious practices. In Phoenician cities like Byblos and Carthage, living stones were believed to hold the essence of gods or supernatural beings. Priests performed offerings to control the divine forces within these stones, preventing them from wreaking havoc. If the standing stone under the Temple Mount served a similar role, the shrine unearthed was not a simple sanctuary but a site designed to imprison ancient, possibly dangerous powers. Biblical texts began to resonate with renewed meaning. Passages from Isaiah depict fallen beings cast down and locked away by divine command. Genesis speaks of mighty ones of old who were punished and bound. The Book of Enoch describes watchers, divine entities sealed beneath mountains for disobedience. The standing stone might have been a cornerstone of that ancient containment system, a physical barrier fashioned by priests fearful of what lurked beneath. The political and religious reforms of King Hezekiah took on a new dimension. Traditionally seen as a crackdown on rival cults to unify worship, his reforms might also have entailed sealing away forces perceived as threatening. Historical records show secret rituals performed by his priests during the Assyrian siege of Jerusalem in 701 BC. These rites may have been more than prayers for deliverance. They could have been acts of spiritual defense, reinforcing the seal beneath the mount. The idea that religion in ancient Judah dealt with forces beyond human comprehension challenges how we understand its sacred history. Rather than purely uplifting faith, this discovery suggests a landscape shaped by fear, secrecy, and containment. It also raises intriguing questions about how much knowledge was kept from ordinary worshippers and later generations. What was considered too dangerous to reveal? The stone's survival despite centuries of upheaval hints at deliberate protection. Those entrusted with its care may have recognized a threat that extended beyond politics or theology. Their devotion was not only to God, but to a dangerous secret they sought to preserve safely hidden. The complexity behind such safeguarding speaks to a reality far richer and more perilous than Scripture alone has told us. Moreover, this containment ritual was not isolated. The shrine's interconnected rooms, sealed chamber design, and ritual materials like lead and incense associated with purification all reinforce the impression of a spiritual lockdown. Lead, like mercury, was used in ancient cultures to trap spiritual forces, indicating the shrine functioned as a multifaceted security system, both physical and spiritual. This discovery forces a reconsideration of the Temple Mount's role in ancient times. It suggests that beyond being a center of worship, the Mount may also have served as a focal point for containment rituals designed to maintain cosmic order. The fear embedded in these practices challenges the idea of the Mount as solely holy ground, revealing an undercurrent of dread and vigilance beneath its sanctity. As the researchers peeled back each layer of data, it became clear they had only scratched the surface of a secret far more unsettling, a truth embodied by an even more perplexing structure hidden deeper below. The shadow cast by this ancient containment led to a chamber unlike any ground beneath Jerusalem had ever shown before. The Chamber of the Warden. The AI scans revealed a perfectly circular chamber carved deep into the bedrock beneath the sealed shrine. Unlike any structure known from ancient Jerusalem, its diameter measured exactly 10 feet across, with walls polished smooth and free of any signs of damage or collapse. Completely sealed off, with no tunnels or entrances, the chamber's precision suggested craftsmanship far ahead of known technologies from the 7th century BC. Ancient builders lacked tools to create such flawless curves or symmetrical arrangements. Within the chamber, distinct layers appeared, a dense outer shell protecting an airtight void inside. At its center, several solid objects were arranged symmetrically around a larger centerpiece, as if placed with careful intention and according to a hidden design. The engineers and archaeologists were stunned by the chamber's sophistication. Such features raised questions about its true purpose. Is this the legendary Holy of Holies or something far stranger? As the images sharpened, strange markings emerged along the curved walls. Linguists quickly identified them as Paleo-Hebrew, one of the oldest scripts of the region. The ancient inscription sent a chill through the team. Here, the warden stands guard, do not open. Unlike typical temple inscriptions praising God or recounting offerings, this was a warning, a clear message against intrusion. The silence that followed was heavy with fear and uncertainty. Radar scans inside the chamber detected several distinct objects. At the center stood a large stone basin carved from a single rock block. Surrounding it were smaller artifacts resembling oil lamps, yet simpler and more primitive than anything from known temple periods. Spectral imaging found residues of lead and mercury within the basin, metals historically linked with binding and purification rituals aimed at trapping or neutralizing spiritual forces. Additional chemical analysis revealed traces of incense derived from plants like mandrake and henbane, notorious in antiquity for their sedative and hallucinogenic properties. These substances had no connection to standard worship, but were consistent with rituals of protection and containment. The chamber's entire setup pointed to a space designed not to celebrate or invite the divine, but to suppress and imprison something dangerous. Historians drew parallels with the Book of Enoch's Watchers, divine beings imprisoned beneath the earth, and Mesopotamian myths describing entities sealed away by priests wielding sacred metals. The Dead Sea Scrolls mention a warden of the pit, a guardian charged with holding captive those who defied heaven's order. The chilling consistency across cultures suggested this chamber was purpose-built as a prison cell rather than a temple sanctuary. Acoustic modeling added a final layer of dread. The circular design trapped sound vibrations tightly inside, creating a near-perfect soundproof vault. This architectural feature would contain energy, preventing any spiritual or physical force within from escaping or resonating outward. The chamber was more than stone and metal. It was a sealed tomb for whatever was locked inside. Breaking the seal was out of the question. Religious authorities and governments quickly classified the site, restricting access to the new data. But the scientific community whispered about the small metallic capsule hidden beneath the basin, a lead container holding a scroll wrapped tightly inside. This secret scroll remained the focus of both fascination and fear. The chamber and its warning exposed a truth few could have imagined. Beneath the holy mount, there exists a guardian and a prison, a place where something ancient and forbidden is held at bay. What that something is remains locked away, but the gravity of this realization resonates deeper than any discovery before it. As the mounting evidence pointed to this chamber's true purpose, the secret scroll inside promised revelations that could shake faith, history, and humanity's understanding of the sacred to its core. The secret scroll inside the capsule, hidden beneath layers of limestone and centuries of compacted earth, was a small metallic capsule, unlike anything ever discovered in Jerusalem. This cylindrical container, forged from lead and enclosed within an outer shell of stone and hardened resin, was sealed with extraordinary precision. Every layer seemed deliberately designed to isolate whatever lay inside from contact with air or light, ensuring that its contents remained perfectly preserved and protected from decay. It was the sort of artifact archaeologists dream of, but also one fraught with unease. Digital imaging penetrated just a few millimeters of the capsule's casing, revealing the unmistakable outline of a tightly rolled scroll within. The scroll itself appeared to be made of papyrus blended with mineral dust, a composition matching ancient protective scrolls found near the Dead Sea at Qumran. What set this scroll apart was the language and symbols adorning its outermost layer. The inscriptions did not resemble Hebrew or Aramaic, but rather an older script resembling ancient Mesopotamian ritual bindings. Linguists identified these symbols as circular sigils, repetitive, protective charms used in apotropaic magic to ward off evil or trap supernatural forces. This revealed a startling truth. The scroll was not meant to be read as a normal text. Instead, it functioned as an object of containment, a magical seal crafted to imprison or restrict something powerful. Its purpose, therefore, was not historical record or prophecy, but safeguarding. On the scroll's surface, scholars found a symbol alarmingly similar to one on the famous copper scroll of Qumran, which lists hidden temple treasures. However, unlike that treasure map, this capsule carried only 3 words in an archaic dialect, translating to "Seal of the Deep Ones." The phrase hinted at a connection to mysterious ancient beings, possibly malevolent entities pressed into captivity by long-forgotten rituals. Researchers tried to read beyond these words, but were stopped by the capsule's dense metallic and resin barriers. Attempts to increase scan power risked damaging the fragile scroll inside, making physical extraction impossible under current restrictions. This technological boundary placed the scroll forever out of reach, safeguarding its contents literally beneath a vault of stone and lead. Tension surrounding the scroll intensified when rumors surfaced about the risks of opening it. Religious authorities insisted the scroll must remain sealed, warning of a covenant of containment that, if disturbed, could have catastrophic consequences. The project was abruptly halted, data locked away, and all involved scientists reportedly bound by strict confidentiality. Despite official silence, leaks from insiders hinted at additional partial translations. Some fragments referenced the fallen who sleep beneath Zion, invoking biblical figures known as the Nephilim, giant beings born of divine and human unions, imprisoned until Judgment Day. This connection deepened the mystery, weaving theology and archaeology into a narrative both fascinating and unsettling. Whether the scroll's contents describe supernatural prisoners, divine curses, or ancient magic, the implications ripple far beyond academia. It challenges core beliefs about the Temple Mount's holiness and raises questions about what forces its builders truly sought to contain. The secret scroll's enigmatic words and impenetrable seal remain one of the most haunting discoveries beneath the mount, hinting at a truth humanity may not be ready to face. Beneath these ancient seals, whispers from forbidden texts emerged, calling to mind legends of divine watchers and imprisoned powers, connections to forbidden traditions. The notion that beneath the Temple Mount lies not only a shrine, but a prison links powerfully to ancient texts and traditions often considered taboo or mystical. The Book of Enoch, for instance, describes watchers, angelic beings who were cast from heaven and sealed beneath the earth for disobedience. This concept echoes hauntingly through the sealed chambers and the warning inscriptions found within. Mesopotamian mythology also speaks of powerful spirits or deities banished to subterranean realms after defying higher gods. Priests in these cultures used sacred metals like lead and mercury to bind such forces. Rituals mirrored in the chemical traces uncovered in the underground chambers. These parallels suggest a shared ancient worldview where certain beings were too dangerous to exist freely among humans. The Dead Sea Scrolls further reinforce this theme, especially the War Scroll, which mentions a warden of the pit. This figure is charged with guarding those who rebelled against divine authority, echoing the Paleo-Hebrew inscription on the circular chamber beneath the Temple Mount. Such cross-cultural and scriptural alignments cannot be dismissed as coincidence. Linguistic connections between the scroll's binding texts and ancient Mesopotamian magical scripts indicate the use of once powerful apotropaic charms. These charms were generally meant to restrain demons or spirits rather than invoke blessing. The repeated circular sigils around the scroll imply a sophisticated ritual meant to ensure containment rather than communication. The idea that the Temple Mount's foundation was chosen not only for holiness, but also as a containment site shifts the conversation about its true purpose drastically. What if this sacred ground was deliberately built over a threshold, a boundary between worlds? These forbidden traditions emphasize that certain forces are held back beneath the city, watched over by unseen sentinels. Scholars contemplating these connections realize that such beliefs challenge Orthodox religious histories in all three major faiths tied to Jerusalem. The possibility that the Mount safeguards imprisoned divine or semi-divine beings would unsettle religious dogmas, shaking the foundations of faith and history alike. This intertwining of sacred texts, mythologies, and archaeological evidence paints a picture of ancient societies confronting real or imagined cosmic threats. It reveals a spiritual dimension where holiness and horror coexist, and where faith includes fear of what lurks beyond visible reality. The scroll and the sealed chambers, connected to these forbidden narratives, force a profound reconsideration of ancient Jerusalem's role as both sanctuary and prison, a place where ultimate mysteries remain locked away by warnings centuries old, echoing through the corridors of time. This hidden legacy invites us to question what other secrets lie buried beneath the stones, guarded by faith, silence, and fear. The Mount's true purpose revealed. The discoveries beneath the Temple Mount point to a startling possibility. This sacred site may be less a sanctuary for worship alone and more a fortress of containment. Historians and archaeologists are confronted with the unsettling idea that the Mount was deliberately constructed over a spiritual prison, designed to hold back ancient, powerful forces deemed too dangerous to roam free. Such a revelation challenges the foundations of what the Temple Mount has meant across cultures and religions for millennia. Traditionally, the Temple Mount has been revered as the heart of Jewish faith, once home to Solomon's Temple, and later the Second Temple, places where God's presence was believed to dwell. For Muslims, it is where the Prophet Muhammad ascended to heaven, while Christians recognize its significance in biblical history. To imagine that beneath this revered ground lies a structure designed to suppress something sinister flips those sacred stories on their head and raises profound theological questions. Legends and scriptures have long alluded to hidden beings beneath the earth. The Book of Enoch and Genesis reference watchers and Nephilim cast down and sealed away for defiance. The Dead Sea Scrolls speak of a warden guarding entities punished by divine will. The archaeological evidence now suggests these were not mere myths, but were based on a collective ancient belief that shaped the very foundations of the city's holiest spot. The natural cave beneath the dome of the rock, known as the Well of Souls, has been linked by tradition to the spirits waiting for judgment. Ethiopian texts mention pits where watchers remain chained, while Islamic sources describe the mount as a liminal space where heaven and earth meet. Across time and faiths, holy ground has been repeatedly connected with the idea of sealing. The Temple Mount's physical layers mirror this spiritual symbolism. If the mound conceals a containment prison, it would explain the extreme caution and secrecy surrounding any excavation or disturbance. Historical episodes like the violent riots sparked by tunnel openings in the 1990s show just how volatile this place is. Disturbing what lies beneath could unleash forces or truths that many fear would shatter religious unity and peace. The secret scroll, still sealed within the lead capsule, embodies that fear. The textual warnings about breaking the seal and the warden's falling hand imply dire consequences for tampering. Whether these represent metaphors for divine wrath or real supernatural peril remains unknown, but the message has been clear enough to halt research and maintain strict silence around the site. This duality of sacred worship and dark containment forces us to rethink ancient religion not as a static faith, but as a dynamic, complicated history full of hidden narratives. It acknowledges that alongside faith and devotion, there was fear, power struggles, and attempts to control forces beyond human understanding. The Temple Mount stands as a testament to this complexity. The very ground beneath millions of pilgrims is a witness to a story far messier and more profound than previously believed. It invites humility and caution in how humanity approaches history, belief, and the unknown. The Mount is both a symbol of divine presence and a reminder of what must remain restrained. In this light, the Temple Mount is more than a holy site. It is a gateway between worlds, a place where heaven's light meets the abyss below, and where silence guards ancient secrets that may forever remain sealed. The secret scroll beneath the Temple Mount reveals a hidden story of faith, fear, and containment that challenges everything we thought we knew. It's a powerful reminder that some mysteries are guarded for a reason. If you found this discovery as fascinating as I did, please like and subscribe for more deep dives into history's greatest secrets. Thanks for watching.